Frauenkirche. It's all shops and coffee houses, restaurants, etc. And passing the Frauenkirche, then you come to the main square of the city called Marienplatz. Marienplatz. The square of Mary with the nude.
Oh, I gotta get this girl on the motorcycle. See, I should do that to work. I could be all dressed up and ride it to work.
Oh, yeah. Because we are arriving at our hotel, but it's a very small lobby, so would you please remain seated? And we get the keys for you again.
Where are we staying? Oh, here. No, I was just taking a picture of your car when you walked out.
No, don't film me.
Seriously? Oh, really? Oh. Well, we're in Germany, right down the street from the police station, and they chastised us for taking pictures, and they may not speak English, but we certainly understood them quickly. I don't know if they were just saying that, oh, here they come again. I think I will not. We saw this from across the street, and what was going in wanted to come out, so I used it. A little WC right here along the plaza. Handy. What? What is that up in the tree? Let's put a zoom on it and check it out.
It's raining there.
No.
It's coming down pretty good.
What is it?
I don't know.
Boomers? I don't know what it is. One never knows.
I don't think it's going to rain, but it is raining.
Not much. We're going to go and try and see if we can find mass times on this church. Today is Friday. You can see it's 5 to 8 in the evening in Munich, Bavarian country. Everyone else is headed to the Bavarian beer hole. Just wasn't something that I wanted to do. And here is our hotel, the Hangar Hotel, which is a chain of Hungarian hotels. And 2 or 3 CHA tours are in there tonight. Look at this. We're in a little store. This guy's cutting the meat. That's neat. Isn't that neat?
Boy, do we got this to look forward to.
Oh boy.
Dawn.
Hi.
Hi.
Look at his head. This is right in the side of the church here, as the bells are tolling. We're trying to find the front door so we can see what the schedule is. What does it say? Catholic?
Saturday, 4/6.
Catholic Parish of St. Paul, huh? What's it say on the time? Saturday, 4 and 6. Well, this is the front, but it sure looks like it's closed. Man, this is gorgeous. Look at this. Okay, wait. Look at that. Hi.
That's good turkey food.
It looks delicious. What's he making? Looks good, doesn't it? Yeah. Right in the window. Oil? Oh, what is this? Come here, look at this. Are those, what, is that something wrapped up in olive leaf? Oh God, that looks good. Jeez. Look at this. Here's the price. Okay. Easy way to figure that out is, say, take something for $5 here. Divide by 5, which is 1, and then multiply by 3, and that's how much the meal is. A $5 meal here is $3 in US. For each, what is it, $1? You get $1, about $1.50, $1.60. So that's how we've done the quick calculation. Let me get these balloons. See the decorations up here? Boy, you just don't see this stuff at home. You just don't see it. See those guys along the sidewalk? I didn't want to film them there, but they're getting a kick out of this. Let me wave. That's as close as I will get. Oh, I think we better go. Hey, Lois. I think they're getting too interested. I'm just going to get these cars. Take me by the arm if I'm supposed to go. I just want to get these cars parked along the sidewalk. Now wait. Oh God. Wait. I want to get these cars. I can't. I'm moving.
Out of the way.
I want to get these cars parked on the sidewalk. Okay, now look. We'd get killed if we did that in the...
I like to drink. So she says, well, could I just have a little martini? Now, Oberammergau has become famous because of it's much longer than that. You know the 30 Years' War? It lasted 30 years. It started in Prague, which was called the Death Denaturation, i.e. somebody got thrown out of the window. It was a Catholic who got thrown out of the window by the Protestants. So on the basis of it, it looks like it was a religious war. It was nothing to do with religion, as usually things never are. It eventually turned out to be a power struggle between the great nations of Europe. And all of Europe was involved in the 30 Years' War. Every country fought, even Sweden, and they are pretty far away from here. When the war finished, or even before that, soldiers dispersing from the armies carried with them the plague. Because as the war progressed, there were battles, rotting bodies, and the rats. They carried the plague everywhere. In fact, it's the fleas on the rats that do the job. So then the soldiers, as they were going back home to their homeland and town, they took the plague with them. So within a few years, entire Europe was devastated by the plague, the bubonic plague. Except here, this little village called Oberammergau. It lies in a valley surrounded by high mountains. And in those days, people didn't know who carried the plague, animals, humans, or what. They assumed it was humans. So they encircled the entire village with fires, and they did not allow anybody to come or go, thinking that would keep the plague away for the rest of their lives. However, there was a man who lived in the village but worked outside, and he came back to see his family for a religious holiday. Because he knew about the ring of fire, he knew who guarded them, and he knew where they were, and he could bypass them. And so he brought the plague with him on the fleece he carried with him. And with this, the plague started in Oberammergau as well, many years after the plague was already raging in the rest of Europe. And this event shook the villagers, and they immediately made a vow that if God stops the plague, they will stage a passion play every 10 years, not for humans, but for God, in a thank you. And so immediately, the next year, they put on the first passion play, and according to the story, there were no more deaths. However, if you look at the parish register, you see there were many more deaths afterwards as well. But because women and children did not count, they would only enter the name of the man who died. So if they entered John Smith plus 5, it meant John Smith and his family died. So we know that well over 20 more families still perished in the plague after the first Passion Play. However, the Passion Play tradition continued, and they staged it once every 10 years. The only time it stopped was during the Napoleonic Wars and during the First World War and the Second World War. Other than that, the Passion Play continued. So this is the origin of the Passion Play of Oberammergau. But we know for certain that right away through the Middle Ages, Passion Plays were always staged. So much so that the main square in front of every medieval cathedral was always called Le Parvis. Parvis, which is a distorted version of Paradis, paradise. Because that is the end of the Passion Play, that is where it ends, in paradise. And for instance, you go in Paris, you have seen Notre Dame, that big square where they were selling souvenirs, that is called also Le Parvis. But in front of every medieval church you will see in France, it's called paradise. So the Passion Play is nothing new under the sun. But here in Oberammergau is the only town where they still continue it in a big way. There are several other towns in Austria where they have Passion Plays, however not in quite such numbers and not in quite as big way as here. Now the Passion Play here was written by monks, the text itself and the music, and it was done by a monastery not very far, and we are going to stop there. It's called Ettal Monastery, E-T-T-A-L, and they are Benedictine monks. It's a teaching order and they have a boys' school attached to it. It's a beautiful building, we'll see it later on. Now Oberammergau, the word itself means Ober, upper. Ammer is the name of the river. Gau means district. Oberammergau, upper Ammer district. Naturally, there must be a lower one as well, and there is. Unterammergau. That's another village further down. The word Gau is in fact a word that came from Charlemagne when he wanted to establish the Roman Empire or the same size. Instead of having provinces, he set up archbishoprics and bishoprics. He organized the religious structure of his empire, and each district had a name ending with Gau. So that is an old Frankish word meaning district. They were okay, but the guides and the drivers, we were put into a family home, you know, bed and breakfast. And I shared my room with the most gorgeous male you ever saw. It was a black Persian pussycat. Her fair, that long. He was a gorgeous puss. He slept on my bed. And anyway, the gentleman, the elderly gentleman of the household, was the ticket collector at the door. And of course we didn't get tickets, needless to say, because my group got tickets worth $200. You know, they were in the front rows. And no way they were going to give us tickets. So I spoke to him and I asked, is there any chance that I could just peek in or look in on the Passion Play? And he said, well, turn up in the afternoon, I see what I can do. So I did. So after the break, after the lunch break, I sneaked up about 3 o'clock, which is close to the end of the play, and I went to the door and opened it, and it was open, and I went in, and lo and behold, quite a lot of people were standing there. So a lot of people must have done the same thing as I did. And as I was standing there, they were just preparing the scene as they were raising the cross. And at that moment, I'm not lying, the heavens opened, there was a thunder and lightning. It was quite incredible. I mean, it was a day, very changeable weather all day. And there was terrific heat in the morning, so it was expected that there would be a storm in the afternoon. But it came literally in seconds. And the stage is done in a way that the backdrop is the mountains. So when you are sitting and you're looking at the stage, the backdrop is the Alps, and you can see the lightning and thunder and everything. It was incredible. It was the most incredible thing I have ever seen in my life. And they were raising the cross just as the lightning started. I tell you, you could have heard a pin drop. There were 2,500 people in that place, but you could have heard a pin drop. It was incredible. The music is wonderful. You think perhaps that they only talk. No, there's lovely music. In fact, the daughter of the family where we stayed, she played in the orchestra. She played the violin. So the music is wonderful too. It's very, very moving experience. If you ever get the chance, you must make every effort to come and see it. Sorry.
What year was that, Trudy?
Which year?
Yeah.
It was the last one, so it had to be 1990. 1990 it has to be, yeah, 90. And because you are not...
We are on top of one mountain. This is another mountain on top of a mountain. So
Is Hansel and Gretel, I think.
Yeah, that's quite exciting. That's the
That's this Little Red Riding Hood. Oh.
Wonder what the custom is.
That's the goat. Yeah, that's the goat. That's right.
Okay, come on.
Well, just
We're not going to waste our time on this, baby. We got a big milk supply.
It's not allowed to take a photo from me.
pardon me?
For me, it's not allowed to take a photograph from me.
It's not. May I take it for me?
To come from USA?
USA.
USA,
Yeah.
where on?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. I have many contacts with USA. I'm already amateur ham. I have many
Are you a ham
contacts
operator?
with Ham operator.
My brother was a ham operator.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Lucky, yeah. Do you see the baby? It's probably a shotgun, I think. Several Olympic Games were held, and it's from this city that you can ascend the tallest mountain in Germany called the Zugspitze, the Windy Corner. And if it wasn't so cloudy, you could see it on your right, Tower Amish, and both of the old towns are very, very pretty, with one main street each, beautifully decorated houses and painted.
Oh, not too bad. I think I'm getting a good picture of this. Are you? Yeah. To the right, it's coming. Looky, looky. Look at there. Wow.
Don't worry, because we will be stopping there. There is another place where we can stop. It's much better.
Oh, look. Oh.
Walk back up, and you have to do it very, very carefully, please.
I don't want to walk back up. Oh.
Yeah, fine.
How do you get down?
Carefully.
Nine, that's the one that takes about 4,000 people. Just here on the corner on feet, from end to end. And here is the beginning on my left. And on your right is the yellow one. Now, the actual family only lived in that grey building, which is in the middle. And all the yellow buildings around you, behind you, they were for the servants and the coachmen. Well, it's still quite a neat little house, isn't it? Not bad for a weekend residence, even if you only look at the grey bit. Now, as I told you, the Porcelain Museum and the Horse-Drawn Carriage Museum is here on the left-hand side, in the left-hand wing. Now, when you go inside the palace, it is not really furnished, and only a few pieces of furniture here and there. There are a few bedroom furnishings here and there, that's all. But what you are looking at is the paintings. In fact, most of the building today is used for offices, and only a tiny section is open for you, for visitors. And you go and look at it, because I will tell you the story of Lola. It's one of those stories that make history. There's women always in the background, that they actually change the world, because she erupted two revolutions single-handed, one in Poland, one here, and finally she died in America, actually, on a rag of old rags, a pile of old rags. But she has changed the life of this country. Because of her, Ludwig I had to abdicate. Afterwards came his son, Maximilian II, who was not a very good king. He was an excellent teacher and mathematician, but he wasn't a brilliant king. So let's go and have a look at those beauties and the palace. I pay your entrance fee, and you go into the palace on your own at your leisure. The first part, you will have corridors, and there will be paintings of the palace as it grew over the years. Because when the son grew up and he became the next king, then he enlarged the palace. That's the one for whose birth it was given in the first place, you see. So then over the years it got bigger and bigger. By the way, the palace is very often used today for receptions, and once we came here we couldn't go in because there was a big summit meeting here. The American, the Russian, the German and the English big shots, they were all here, and you couldn't even enter the gardens. And another time there was a big society wedding and a marquee was set up and flags. Oh, it was wonderful. Again, we couldn't go in though. Now,
It is windy today. Woo. This is the castle of Nymphenburg, right in Munich. Not the castle, the palace of Nymphenburg. Who is that, Sandy?
I don't know. But he had his nose stuck where it didn't belong.
Point to what you mean. That's a nose. You do a good job.
Stuck
Look,
your nose in somebody else's business.
These things kind of rock back and forth. This is look straight now.
look at this fireplace.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, look in there. Say, hi, Molly. Wave. Wave. You're on candid camera. Wave.
I'm waving.
Oh, there. Hi, Molly.
Wave.
Bye.
Bye.
Seeing the beauty of Wisconsin. Hi there, Americano.
Do you speak English?
Yes. I'm walking around.
I'll get you anyhow. There are oodles of swans out here.
Und so ein Vorzimmer in der Welt waren es natürlich auch zwei.
From here?
Voilà, et le reste c'est grand. Oh, c'est une équipe italienne. Comme toujours, ça passe très sur terre. Comme disait un très collègue sévère, ce Covid de bonne terre, parce qu'il s'est adapté au schéma par parisien ou international. Et probablement innovation. Je me dis,
Except we're taking her the wrong way to go to the bathroom. Well, I'm not, I know, I put the garden.
She's a little young to be a bride.
Look, the grass isn't even cut here. That's That's one thing we've noticed in Germany, in Munich. It just doesn't seem to be kept like the other areas. Where's that other bird? There it is. Those are two, must be ducks. Well, if it's the webbed feet. Be kind to your web-feeted friends, for a duck may be somebody's mother. Quack, 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 quack.
What would you like, young? Either Sister Mary is working or her prayers, but something is definitely not working.
That dog looks like it wants to take a dip with the duckies. Watch, watch.
Oh, sorry, you are sitting there. Oh.
I dropped her umbrella. Got caught.
Bring it here. Come on. Get it. Good. Come on. Bring it here. Come on. Attaboy. Come on. Get the bug. Come on. Come on. Go get it. Get it. Attaboy. Come on. Come on. Bring it. Oh, good dog. Good dog. Come on. Get it. Such a good dog, yes. Okay. Get it. Good.
Dolores Torres Montes. But she based the entire story and the name on her mother's ancestry, who she thought came from Spain. Then she came back to Europe and went to London and wanted to go on stage. But the dance was so awful, besides she was recognized, and she hasn't been divorced yet from that young officer, and some of those young soldiers in the audience recognized and said, that's not Lola Montes, but that's Liza. So off she went. So she then went to Paris and set her eyes on all the crowned heads of Europe, and she succeeded in getting into their beds, and that was that. That made her a lot of money. And then she set her eyes on Ludwig I, who lived here. He was wealthy. He loved beautiful things, as I told you. He collected beautiful things like other people collect pictures and paintings. She decided she was going to collect him. And so she wanted to go and see him because when she applied to dance on stage, the theater manager threw her out saying, you can't dance, you can't sing, I'm not having you. So then she decided to apply direct to the king, and they wouldn't let her in. So she had a scuffle with the guards in front of the king's study. And during the scuffle, her body's torn. So she managed to get in, and she ran up to the desk of the king, and she noticed that the king couldn't take his eyes off her bodice. So she picked up the penknife from the desk, slashed the rest of her bodice. A couple of things fell out. The king fell in love, and that was his end. Because she was installed in the palace, and she practically ruled the king and the palace, and so much so that he had to have her approval even to choose his ministers. He was so infatuated with her. She was 32 years younger than he was. He was married to Theresia. You remember the Theresia and Lisa and the Oktoberfest? That was their wedding. And so he gave her jewels and kept her and gave her a palace and a title. And she put her foot wrong by alienating the Jesuit priests under whose influence the king was. And she wanted to incite the students, but the students were under the influence of the Jesuit priests at the university because they were the teachers. And so that was her downfall, practically. So it was the students who began the revolution in 1848 because she threatened them to close the university if they don't stand by her. And imagine, Ludwig closed the university on her request. And that's when the students came out on the streets. That's when the 1848 revolution began here in Munich. And that's when the king, within about 2 days, had to abdicate. So he then retired and still kept sending her money. By this time, she went to all other parts of Europe, Paris, and then set her eyes on Australia. It was a total failure. And then eventually went to America. She did marry twice, even after her first marriage, you know, which wasn't even an outdoor divorce, married twice. And then in America, she died in extreme poverty. And looking at the records, it looks like she probably died of cancer because she lost all her hair. She was very thin. Her face went very grey, you know, her complexion went very grey. And she literally wasted away. And she died on a huge pile of rags in a doss house, practically. Her mother came over from Australia to see if she had any jewels left, but she didn't, because an unscrupulous woman took everything off her with the promises that she'd look after her for her old age. So she gave up even the gigantic diamond necklace that she received from Ludwig. Imagine. So that was the last of her jewelry. And so she died. She was still very young, in her late 30s, when she died, in America. So you probably, wow, that's windy. So you probably heard of Lola Montez because she actually finished her life in America. But she's one of those interesting ladies that changed history. If it hadn't been for her demanding the university to be closed, etc., probably the revolution would have erupted, but not at that moment. 1848 was a wave of revolutions right away to Olympics. And perhaps you remember that from the event of the shooting of the Jewish athletes. Olympic ground itself is gigantic, 662 acres of it, and it was an airfield in the First World War, and after the Second World War, the rubble that they cleared from the city was dumped on that airfield, and today the Olympic grounds are hilly for this reason, or it looks like they are hilly. In fact, they are artificial hills, that's the rubble. So they lay down the Olympic grounds on top of it all. The most interesting feature of the Olympic grounds is the roof construction, and have a good look at it. You are going to see 16,000 square feet of stretched acrylic. And it will be on your right hand side, and look at the peaks of those roofs, because the peaked roof imitates the peaks of the Alps. The construction itself is a new technique, and when it was built, had never been done before, and it collapsed twice. So what you see today is the third construction. In the middle of it, there is a gigantic Olympic tower, 951 feet high, and at 623 feet above ground, there is a revolving restaurant and a platform. So keep on looking to your right, because you are going to see it. And as I say, we cannot stop, but we'll slow down. The Olympic grounds to your right, and ahead of you and to the left, you are going to see the apartments that were built for the athletes. So here on your right is the Olympic grounds. Where we are standing right now is the beer hall part, where you can have a drink and a jolly good knees up. The group of buildings you are going to see is one of the most beautiful parts of the city. It's a complex of buildings to support Napoleon. You remember I told you how Maximilian I was made into a king from just a duke by Napoleon because he supported Napoleon in his campaigns. And so in gratitude, they put up that obelisk. You're on the highway, okay? Yeah, what you found earlier on. Titan, the Four Seasons Hotel. All the famous and infamous come here to stay. They are the only ones who can afford it. Now prepare your body and soul, because we are going to get out of the bus and we are going to take a little walk.
I don't know. We're walking down to see the Glockenspiel.
Now that is that famous clock. And remember, you come into the Hofbräu house. I told you about that man who set up the photos of life there, and that was his own. When he got married, there was another big celebration. And that clock actually represents the wedding celebration. However, the entire celebration took place in the 16th century when the clock was 2
front of my homes all the time, Mary. We were at your home, waving at you.
Don't tell me we ran for nothing.
That's it.
Okay, now they're moving. Now they're moving. Okay, this is the button. This is really a little bit of snow. It's so cold.
How did you know that night was there? I looked. You're cheap. There you go. Let's go. Night, night. Oh, here they come again. He says so, right? Ma? Maybe they ought to marry one of the older guys, huh? Well, the light's coming again. He's gonna have a bellyache tonight. Yeah, that's great. I don't know anything about WD-40 over there. Hope they don't get busy far off. that was worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Happened.
Oh no, I didn't try that.
That's it, huh?
No.
It's all
Coast
done.
to coast.
You can actually see that hand move.
What hand?
The clock hand.
Clock.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's waving at me.
Right.
And that's the result
Yes,
of the war.
that's the result of the war. And up to last year, they left it like this as a memorial. And then they decided they were going to create a museum dedicated to war, and that's the one which is on your left.
Oh, good Germany.